Hell yeah.
Deadly Possessions. So disclosure, if you have not seen Deadly Possessions, don't watch this because I don't want it to be ruined for you. First, I just want to go over what the museum is. So supposedly Zach opened this museum down in downtown Vegas somewhere, and it has all these haunted items that he's been collecting for years and years. And so I thought that was going to be the base of the show. I thought maybe, I wasn't really sure, to be honest. Like, if you guys have seen Haunted Collector, which was on Sci-Fi, it was this guy that went into locations, investigated if he found like high levels of EMF or EVPs around a certain object. He would say, this object is haunted and it is what's causing all of your problems. May I take it with me to my museum? And then the owner would be like, yes, you may. So I was kind of worried. I thought maybe that was going to be like the same vibe, and it wasn't. So what he does, he has like cabinets and these like glass tables and all of these items inside of this haunted museum. And then on top of that, he has a nerve center that's set up, which is behind this like hidden library area, and that's where like Jay, Aaron, and Billy were hanging out, and they have cameras all over. Then they also have like this basement area, and that's where they are putting like really haunted items. And it appears that on the show they will be having 2 people come in to discuss their haunted object and what it's caused for people in the past and for themselves as far as negative things. I was also really interested in seeing that Zach's mom was on the episode, which I think is really cool. She seemed to be helping out, so I'm not sure if she's going to be like helping him run it or whatever, but that was really cool that he got her involved. Creepy Theodore, which is like the doorman slash, I don't know, maybe a modern Lurch from the Addams Family, is now a part of this. He's like an older gentleman with a creepy top hat and a creepy like old school suit slash tux, which I thought was really awesome. Also, I wanted to ask you guys what you thought of this. So I know that Zach mentioned on Twitter, I believe, that he is not yet opened it to the public, but he is going to soon. I live in Vegas, so would you guys be interested if I went down there and tried to either like film or look at it? I don't know if they'll allow cameras in there, I'll try. But should I go in there and like maybe do a YouTube episode about it? Let me know in the comments what you think. Okay, so I would just like to chat about Kevin and Jason, which are the guys that were there. So Kevin was the guy that they put downstairs with the box, and something weird happened. This dude went downstairs. Zach sent him down alone to go like spend time with the box. He walks to the back of the room, like where the heater is, or like shelving. I don't know what was back there. And all of a sudden, the dude starts speaking in like a legitimate English accent. And I looked up this guy, Kevin Mannis, and he has no relation to like London or like, you know, across the pond. And because I was like, how did this guy get an accent? Like, I'm going to play like, you know, skeptic on both sides. Like, it could be real, it may not be real. The guy has no relation to overseas, so that was weird. He started, do you guys have like English friends? I have some really good English friends that live in London, and it is hard to really perfect like an accurate English accent, and this dude sounded like when I do it, like it sounds hilarious because it's like a joke, but this guy like starts talking like gibberish in an English accent, and like the people are being cursed upstairs and go after them, like weird stuff. And what the heck, like it freaked me out when I was watching it, to be honest. I've had so many people message me and they're like, do you think he got possessed? Like, do you believe that actually happened? Yeah, I think that actually happened. And I mean, Zach's reaction was really raw of like that wasn't what he was expecting to happen. And the only thing I did not agree with that situation was, first of all, Zach stayed in the control room, watched him and listened to the audio, and instead of Zach going downstairs, like I don't know if you heard him, he said, what do I do now? Instead of going down to deal with it himself, Zach sent Theodore down, which is this like little old man dressed like Lurch from the Addams Family. And like, I don't know, I'm sorry, but I feel like if you're going to own a haunted museum with stuff that has been legitimately haunted and it's documented, like this Dibbuk Box, don't send a little old man downstairs that doesn't know how to deal with this stuff, you know? Not that Zach really does either, but I just feel like if this happened in my museum, it would be my job to deal with the situation and it would be my responsibility. So I thought that it was really irresponsible of Zach, honestly, to put Theodore in kind of harm's way. And with that being said, all of a sudden Zach, like, I don't know if he'd had enough of, like, maybe, I think Zach kind of thought after he sent Theodore down, maybe that wasn't the best decision. And then he said, Theodore, come upstairs. And he said, you know, so I think maybe Zach realized he didn't initially make the best decision. So that's good. But that, I really didn't agree with that, because you know, I honestly wouldn't have been able to know how to deal with that, you know, if it happened to me in the first person, but I know for sure I wouldn't be sending anyone else to deal with it. What's my opinion on the Dibbuk Box? Well, I mean, I have had my own experience with it. I told you guys that. So, do I think it's real? Absolutely. And honestly, I've heard this same story. These same people have been interviewed for several shows over the years, like for a long time, like before paranormal got like really big. I remember hearing about this particular box. I totally believe that it's accurate. I totally believe that it's real. The only thing I wish is that I wish someone could either help them, you know, like what my mom did, and find a Catholic priest or somebody to figure out how to put something to rest or remove it or whatever. I think that it's harming both Kevin and Jason. I mean, Jason said that he undug it from the ground and started coughing up blood immediately, and he said that he was deathly afraid to be traveling with it, and I think that was also for the safety of other people that were around the box. And, you know, I mean, it's that same old oppression thing, obviously. I mean, Kevin seems to have had some sort of a possession by the box downstairs, but Kevin seems to be afraid of removing the box, to move it, to do anything with it. So that's definitely oppression, you know. So I hope and pray that someday they can make contact with someone to help them remove it from their lives entirely. And, you know, sadly, if Jason is, you know, making money off of this, as far as he wrote a book and he's done all these shows about the Dibbuk Box, I don't think that he'll cut ties with it anytime soon, because it's also paying his paycheck. So it's kind of one of those things where you're buying your own ticket, if you know what I mean, wherever you're going. So, okay, so Robert the doll, and supposedly, like, weird things happen if you take his picture without his permission, blah, blah, blah. So, I don't know if it relates to borrowing photos from the internet, but I'm not going to play with it. So, if you're interested in looking up what Robert the doll looks like, I think it's like robertthedoll.org, and you can actually buy your own personal mini-sized Robert the doll. And let me know how that goes. Haunted sailor doll from the early 20th century. This guy named Robert Eugene Otto was an author who lived in Key West, Florida, was like super obsessed with the doll, kind of cared for it more than his wife and his mother. And supposedly the doll caused like his grandfather to die, and his grandmother and his parents and everybody that's been a part of his life, until finally Robert Eugene actually passed away. I don't know how it got into the current caretaker's hands, but that we'll get into that in a minute. So Robert the doll, apparently, if you disrespect him, if you talk crap to him, if you treat him inhuman, so if you treat him like he is a toy or a doll, basically he will curse you. And I guess he gets hundreds of letters a day of apologies and asking for forgiveness. And I mean, I guess this caretaker legitimately reads them to Robert asking for forgiveness. The biggest thing that makes him mad is using photos or taking photos of him without his permission, and that's when weird things happen, which is why we're not going to be using his photos. So I was like, wait a second, I want to know like Zach kept saying, oh, Robert is like Chucky the doll. And like I was like a horror fan freak, like a horror movie freak, you know, when I was in high school. So I've seen every Chucky movie, and I was like, wait a second, Chucky's like pretty violent. So like, how is he being related to Chucky? So the biggest thing is like, if you insult him or if you refer to him just as a doll, that's when bad things happen. So that's how the relation to Chucky comes in. The next question is, do I believe that this doll is haunted? I have never seen this doll. I've never met Robert the doll. I don't know this particular item. I have been in contact with items that are, that have weird things attached to them. So do I believe it can happen? 100%, totally. Back to the same thing that I just said about the Dibbuk Box, okay? There are 3 stages of possession: infestation, oppression, possession. Basically, infestation, which is when it starts to come into your life and things are being, bothered by it in your life. Oppression is when you're starting to feel its energy. It's typically even empathing off of it. If it's making you feel depressed or weak or sad or violent, that's oppression. Now, possession is when you just don't know, you're not yourself. You and the item or it have become one. Obviously, it was poorly set up on Zach's part. He must have, before production started, asked Theodore to basically mock and scream at Robert the doll. I wasn't expecting that to happen, but it looked really fake and it looked really set up. So at first I was like really kind of irritated because I was like, once again, why is Zach putting Theodore in harm's way when there have been documented cases of something being attached to this and hurting people? And obviously he set this up for him to mock or make fun of the doll. But then I realized I think he did it to get the caretaker of Robert the doll, the woman, to get her reaction on TV. So if you watched it, Theodore talks to Zach and then turns around, sees the doll, does this little scream, whoa thing, whatever, and then turns around and walks out. And the caretaker freaks out. She's like, that was disrespectful. I can't believe that happened. And Zach's like, what do you think he needs to do? He needs to come in and apologize. And so anyways, weird, really strange. And even Zach was like, when they were talking about the other Robert, Eugene, owning Robert the doll, that he kind of cared for the doll more than his wife. Zach was like, weird, that's really strange, it's not right for a grown man. This woman cares for this doll as if it were a real living person, and that's none of my business, because every single person on this earth was put here for a reason, and maybe her reason was to take care of Robert the doll. But going back to the 3 stages of possession, I think she is totally oppressed by this doll, if it does have an attachment, for her to be treating it so human-like. And, same with the Dibbuk Box. The dude's selling books about the Dibbuk Box. He's going on TV shows. He can't really get rid of the Dibbuk Box because that's also his income. This woman, I looked on her website. You can go visit Robert the doll. She does interviews. She does interaction. She sells mini Robert the dolls, whatever, on her website. And so she has made a money mine, whatever, a fortune out of this haunted item. And you can tell the owners are, the one dude was like, I was coughing up blood, and she's like, don't disrespect it, bad things will happen. So I mean, these people are having like some obvious problems, with these items being haunted, and yet they are still, more concerned with making money off of it versus their safety, or possibly putting whatever's to rest that is attached to the item. I don't know. So I mean, it's that whole, like, you're buying your ticket wherever you want, and that's the direction you're going. So good luck, and let me know how it goes. Yeah, I mean, I feel bad for them because it's really sad. I don't know if they realize what they look like from the outside when they're carrying around a box that could be possibly haunted with multiple demons or spirits or cursed, and then a woman carrying around a doll like it's a child or that she has to take care of it indefinitely. So I feel bad for these people. It's you know, obviously they have like some serious attachments to the items, and I don't really see a lot of hope for him, especially the dude with the Dibbuk Box. He's had it for a while now. What's my overall critique about the show? I don't like Theodore being in like crossfire, to be honest. Like I worry about that because, you know, us as seasoned investigators, or even other people that might be watching that aren't seasoned investigators, I have concerns with dealing with the other side when you don't know about it. I'm not sure what Theodore's background is in it, but I don't think it's really fair that like Zach's kind of thrown him under the bus a few times. So that makes me nervous. But other than that, I think Zach delivered. I thought it was great. Thought it was super interesting. And I mean, I'm totally going to be the first one at the museum, you know, like the day he announces it. Hopefully I'm in Vegas since I travel a lot, but the day he announces it, man, I'm going to be right there. And hopefully we can take pictures. I don't know. I will be very interested to see if he makes you sign a release inside of the museum, because I've been to Bobby Mackey's. I'm not sure if you guys have been there, but so many pregnant women have been injured that if you're a female and you go in to investigate, or even I just went in to see Wanda. Wanda used to make you sign a release form that says you are not pregnant, and says that if something happens to you physically as a girl, they will not be liable. So I'll be interested to see if, you know, having as many haunted items as Zach has, I'm not sure. I mean, I heard that he had bought Dr. Kevorkian's van, and I heard that he had bought some carnivores, you know, big cauldron that he used to eat body parts in. I'm sure there's attachments to those things. And if you remember, Zach's house was like super haunted. Part of the reason that he had moved from his old townhouse was because he got pulled out of bed at 5 a.m. because he was bringing haunted items home. So I'll be interested to see if he makes you sign a release. We'll see what happens. If he does and I go down, I will totally take a picture and show you guys what all that stuff looks like. And I can't wait. We'll see. If you're interested in me going down to the museum, write me a comment. Stay tuned for hopefully some Jerome footage, and I will chat with you guys soon. Take care.
We're back from the dead. Back from the dead.